pregnant, you're wondering if you should see maybe a doctor, OBGYN, or a midwife. And this was a question that I asked myself. I wanted the best for my kid, first time mom here. So when I was doing my research, I saw a lot of YouTube videos, for example, women detailing their experiences. They were all pro-midwife. I didn't see one video actually about pro-OBGYN. And from what I read, and also watched, it seemed like midwives were people that were more caring, compassionate, they listened to you. But listening and caring doesn't mean they have like the right solutions to the problems, you know, that you may have, or they can find the problems. So, by the way, midwives are going to be all different in different places, different people. For example, like the regulations here by state is different, by country it's different. So I'm going to tell you about my experience. I'm in the state of Texas, and I live in a small city, and there was like only one midwife, and she had some bad Google reviews at the time when I saw her. She had some good ones too, but overall it was like a 3.9 stars when I first started seeing her. And yeah, so anyways, I'm going to tell you my story in a chronological order. I want to mention a big misconception that I had. I assumed that because I was healthy, I didn't have any health problems or illnesses, I'm young, I have healthy weight, I eat well, I exercise, you know, I drink lots of water. I thought because of all this, I would have no complications. I'm a super low risk. I'm the most ideal patient a midwife could ever have. But that's wrong. That is so wrong, because I found out that I had two major complications: the thyroid levels and the short cervix. And these are serious things to be addressed. So don't assume that just because you're healthy that you have no problems. So when I first found out I was pregnant, I called the doctor right away. I did like 6 pregnancy tests, those from those boxes, those sticks, you know. I was pretty sure I was pregnant because, I mean, I've never laid, I have very regular periods. So the doctor, receptionist that I would call, they would all say that we will see you in 8 to 10 weeks. And that's a long time. A lot of developments going on from the date of your last period to 8 to 10 weeks. That's a long, long time. And I said, you know, like on the pregnancy test box, it says, see your doctor right away when you find out that you're pregnant. So why do I have to wait 8 to 10 weeks to see a doctor? And I guess the idea is like when you speak to the receptionist, they ask you like questions like, you know, what your medical history and all that is. And if you're like a low risk person based on that, then they're going to see you much later on. So I still wasn't comfortable with that because, like I said, it's my first time doing this and I want to do it the best way I know how. I had no idea about pregnancies or like how it works or anything like that. So the only thing I could do from that time to 8 weeks is just do research, and I waste money at Barnes and Nobles on books. The library here wasn't any good, and I can't wait for Amazon to ship the secondhand books, and I'm not much of an e-book reader. Anyways, I digress. So I was doing my reading and all that, and after a week I said, you know, I really want to see some professional in pregnancy. I can't wait 8 to 10 weeks. So I called the midwife, and I asked her some questions before seeing her. I asked her this specific question: are there any tests that an OBGYN does that you do not do? And she lied to me. She said, I do all the tests that the OBGYN does. Okay, sure, that's great. How soon can you see me? I can see you as soon as tomorrow. wow, okay, let's set up this appointment. I want to get this, I really want to get the ball rolling. I really want to know what's going on. And the more I thought about it, the more of a better idea it was, because let's be real here. Who wants to go to a hospital for delivery? You know, hospitals for me always have like this bad vibe of death and illness. And with a midwife, they have like their birth center. It's like a spa. It looks really relaxing. It's near my house, even a walking distance. So this is something I wanted to do. So we booked the appointment. I saw her, and as I was going along, there were some kind of red flags for me. Like, for example, I asked her, like, you know, shouldn't you be doing a pap smear test? I know, I heard that's like something that they do, you know, and she's like, no, that's not something we do because, like, I think she said it ruptures the membrane, or I don't know what she said. I'm not like this medical professional person. So I just accepted that because I did that test a year earlier and it was fine. So I said, okay, no problem. And there was other things, like, I'm like, aren't you gonna test for like genetic disorders like Down syndrome? She said no, they don't do that, but like if I wanted to, I could pay thousands of dollars like at some special place. And she wasn't like giving me that information. And I was kind of shocked by that, because I thought like it's kind of standard to do that. And I should mention, by the way, that this midwife was like a religious person, very pro-life, not pro-optimal life, because like they didn't do these like testings. They don't really do everything it takes to make sure that your baby is going to be like having the most optimal chance. So she's pro-life, so they don't really want to give like women the choice to decide what they want to do with their pregnancies. So that's why I guess she didn't want to give me any information about like any genetic testing. So I said, whatever, you know, I don't have any disorders like that in my family, nor in my husband. So I just let that one go too. And then sometimes like I would ask her questions about pregnancies, you know, that I would read in books and that seemed like facts. But I just like would double check with her, like, you know, just out of curiosity. It seems like everything I read in legitimate books, like that What to Expect book, which is like written by Obgyn. For example, like I said, is it true that after you give birth you have to wait 2 years before getting pregnant again, because you need your body and your uterus to recover? She's like, no, that's not true. So these are the kinds of information I would get from her. But I mean, for me, I guess it wasn't important. I said I just tried to be positive. I just try to focus on the good things about seeing a midwife, you know, like giving birth naturally in a spa in the water, being relaxed. I just wanted to focus on being healthy and fit, eating well. So when I saw her at the first appointment, they just did a basic blood test, basic urine test. And if I wanted my blood pressure and my weight measured, I would have to do it myself and fill out a form, which I thought that was weird. I thought maybe, I didn't know if it was like an accountability issue or a laziness issue, or maybe, I don't know, money issue, laziness, I don't know what it was, but something seemed weird about that. But I was like, okay, whatever, I have no problem with that. I mean, it's easy to use. So, and this was the problem with the blood test. There's a problem with the blood test because it was a very basic blood test, and they don't test for, like I said, genetic disorders, of course, but they did not test for thyroid levels. And this is so important, because if your thyroid is out of range, this has a big impact on the baby's brain. And I did not know that. I was trusting the professional here. She did not test that, because I saw the blood test results, nothing about TSH, and I didn't know at the time that this was something important to get tested. And I'm pretty sure on her checklist, I'm like 100%, 99.999% sure that I wrote that in my past. I had it sometimes on and off, like in range, but I never had medication for it, and every time I saw a doctor, they would just test it again and again and again. and it didn't seem like there was that much of a problem, but it is a problem in pregnancy. So she did not test that. And if you're pregnant and you're getting a blood test, please make sure you ask for your blood test results and that they test TSH. That's what it says on the blood test result for thyroid. Because I saw a documentary recently just dedicated to this topic, that a woman's thyroid level, which is pregnant, really has this impact on the baby's intellect. And that's why since the 70s, because like the thyroid levels have been off because of things like pesticides and household cleaners, and that's since the 70s we have seen a decline in the population's IQ level. And this is very scary stuff. I mean, this is not pseudoscience, because like I'll tell you, like as later on I found out when I had this problem, I saw a high-risk doctor and they gave me that thyroid medication right away, because this is very serious stuff. So I'm so mad that I did not see a doctor in the first trimester, because I feel like I really gave my kid a big disadvantage. And I think there should be more awareness about thyroid levels, because it's not unique to me. There's like women, people have this problem like often, a lot, everywhere. It's like more and more common you hear about. So get that checked out. Anyways, I know this is long, but this is very important, okay? Just a urine test, just blood test, blood pressure, and weight. And then I said, hey, shouldn't there be like some sort of ultrasound, like some sort of analysis like with that? And she was like, oh yeah, if you want, you can go and get it for free at this place. And I said, oh, for free? Is it like a charity? Because I don't want to take advantage of charity. I mean, I can pay for it. I mean, usually these things are probably for like lower income people who want access to healthcare. Like, it's okay, you know. She's like, no, they do it once for free, and you can go, and they'll be happy to do it. I said, okay. I was kind of uneasy about it, but I said, okay, sure, like, fine. She just like wrote a number on a Post-it note, literally. Anyway, so then we go to this place, and guess what it was? It was a pregnancy crisis center. Yes, and this is a place that's funded by who? I think, and I believe it's the some Christian organization, the church or something like that, where they impose their views on you. And I guess it's a place to prevent women from having abortions, because all they do is advertise like, oh, if you want abortion, come here. And then they just go and manipulate you into just keeping the baby. And there's like a whole segment about this that some late night comedian, I think John Oliver, did. I'll post the link below. Whatever, I mean, okay, I just want my ultrasound done. But like they were really inundating me with a lot of this Christian literature. Like I had a huge bag of pamphlets, books. They were asking me about my religion. They want, because I'm atheist and my husband is too. And I mean, I never was asked in my life. Like this is a thing, I guess only in America they ask you for your religion. Well, I guess in other countries too, but never in Canada. Definitely not in Quebec, where I'm from. So I said atheist, and they wanted to talk to me about it. They put me in a separate room away from my husband. They asked me questions that are like, well, I mean, like for normal people, I guess it's kind of offensive. Like, for example, oh, is the father of this baby, could it be someone else other than your husband? And I was like, no, of course, like that's kind of offensive. That's like a rude question, but I guess maybe they have to ask it. I was gonna say as a joke, actually, like, you know, maybe it's the second coming of Jesus Christ and the Father is God, you know, you never know. But I wasn't really in the mood for a comedy. I just wanted to get to the bottom of things. So I didn't say that, I just did this ultrasound, and guess what? This ultrasound, I just found out I was pregnant. That's it. I asked for like information, like, can you tell me anything about the development, the size, like what I need to know, like based on this ultrasound. They said, no, it's a limited ultrasound. I said, limited? Well, I mean, so what? It's only just to tell me that I'm pregnant and that's it? And they give you like a little picture, which at that point, at like 8 weeks, it's just like a ball of cells, right? You don't really see like a human form yet. But like, I just wanted to know about like the health side of things, and all they could tell me is, you're pregnant, and it's limited. It's very limited. We can't tell you anything. This is preposterous. Like, I came all that way, took time. My husband, he like has this good job, taking time out of his day, coming, and just to be told that, like, I would have rather just paid for some legit ultrasound place where with like doctors that would tell me what's up. This was a waste of time, and we left there with a huge bag of Bible pamphlets and Bible book stuff, and a small bag of like, I don't know, diapers and the toiletries for babies, or I guess you could say. So I said, okay, whatever. I was kind of like jaded by that experience. Like, I didn't like it, but I didn't say anything to the midwife. I just wanted to be on good terms and focus on my health. So that's what I did, right? So then we get to 20 weeks. I make it to 20 weeks. And, you know, when you're at that point, you're thinking, man, like, I want to have an easy labor. Like, the whole point of, you know, like if you're going to a midwife, they're not going to use an epidural. Like, it's pure natural. No medication. Like, you got to do it the natural way. And that could be painful if you don't know what you're doing. So I was trying to learn all about it. And there was a so-called reputable YouTube woman who like preaches pregnancy stuff, and she was saying that in your second trimester you should be drinking something called red raspberry leaf tea. And this was the stupidest advice that I could ever listen to, because what it actually does is it doesn't strengthen your uterus, it induces labor. This is something that other people recommend you do, like maybe in the 39th week, you know, like this isn't something you do in the second trimester. I was so shocked afterwards, and I'll explain why. Because like I started getting cramps when I drank this tea. And, like, cause like I thought like what she was saying was legit. I mean, like other people were saying, yeah, that's what I do too. When I went to the store, like that, the marketing on that box for red raspberry leaf tea, it says like, you know, it had like it's for women. It had all that like pregnancy girly art on the box. I said, okay, it seems like legit, I guess. Like, I don't think there's any harm. And this was stupid on my part. I should have asked, but I said like, I guess it can't be harmful. So that's the one thing that I learned, by the way, you should ask. So there was some stupid moves on my part too. That was one of them. Anyway, so I got a cramp, and the cramp would not go away. And then second day, the cramp still would not go away. So I called the midwife, and I said, hey, what's up with that? And the midwife said, you know, you should probably just rest and drink a lot of water. I said, okay. So I did that, and I drank a lot of water, and rested, and hoped for the best. But the cramp still continued on to the third day, and I'm panicking, and I said, this isn't right. I really need to get like a second opinion about this. I don't know what to do, you know? But when you call a doctor, an OBGYN, because by the way, I canceled that appointment that I initially made. When I call an OBGYN, I said, like, I just want to go in quickly to see like a second opinion about these cramps. I'm having these cramps for 2 days, 3 days now, and I want to get to the bottom of it. And none of the OBGYNs in this city would see me because they don't do second opinions. Like, if you go in there, it would be for the whole thing. So I was like, man, like, this is not right. Like, I should be able to see a doctor. I mean, I thought this is America, like you get whatever you want to pay for. Like, why are these doctors insisting that if I go there as a pregnant lady, I would have to see them throughout the entire duration of the pregnancy? I just want to, because like I didn't want to betray the midwife. I didn't want to say, hey, you're fired. I'm just going to see this OBGYN now. I just wanted to see for sure what was going on before I could like make a decision to switch to OBGYN, or just to figure out what's going on and fix this problem, you know? So no OBGYN would see me. I still have my cramps. My midwife's advice is not helping me. What do? I do a very silly move, another stupid move that you should never do when you're in America unless you're like close to death. I went to the ER, the emergency room. I called in advance to make sure like if there was a OBGYN there, and they had like ultrasound machine and everything. So I went there and I told them I had cramps for 3 days and I just want to see what's going on. And they did all the tests, the ultrasound tests on me, and I'm at 20 weeks and they didn't even have the decency to tell me what the gender of the baby is at that point. And I just wanted to know what was going on. And by the way, if you're from Canada, a friend of mine watching this, the wait times are like not that much better in America. Like I spent a lot of time in the waiting room. And so I waited and I waited after doing a basic urine test and ultrasound, and it came back, and a nurse told me that you're perfectly fine, you can go home. I'm like, oh, okay. And I thought it was weird because like I didn't see a doctor, it was just a nurse that was talking to me, and I guess the nurse gave me a paper that a doctor wrote up based on what he saw on my ultrasound results. And by the way, that bill was like around $6,000 just to get the test done. I didn't even get to talk to a doctor, I just talked to a nurse and she said I'm perfectly fine. And so she just like walked away, and my husband looked at this paper that she gave us, and he's a very analytical person, and it said 1.5 centimeters cervix, and he was like Googling it, and he was so shocked to find out like how bad this was. This is bad. If your cervix is short like that, usually you get rushed to like surgery to get like your cervix stitched, because like there's nothing holding your baby in. It's like it could just drop at any moment. And he was freaking out, and he asked another nurse who was walking down the hallway like, hey, what is this? And she's like, yeah, it's pretty bad, you should see a doctor about this. I was like, seeing a doctor? I'm here talking to you, like I'm here in the ER room, I'm probably going to be paying like a lot of money, like shouldn't I see a doctor here? Oh no, like you're going to have to see your doctor and ask. So I said, okay, well obviously this is a very, very serious problem. So I called my midwife and I said, hey, you know, I have a cervix of 1.5 centimeters, that's what I learned from the hospital. And she was like, oh, I guess like it's just on the shorter side, we can like take a look at it and see like what's going on, like next Friday, which is like almost next week. I'm like, man, I can't wait until next Friday. I want to like figure out like what I can do about this. She's like, yeah, we'll see like if you need that stitch. That stitch, by the way, is only for people who had like previous miscarriages. So it wasn't something that I think I needed, like afterwards, after doing the research. And it didn't seem like she knew what was going on in regards to that, and she was telling me like how she's delivered babies with people who had that stitch and that condition, but I didn't feel like she was taking that seriously, and that's where I say like how I'm kind of confused that these people say that they're pro-life, but they're not pro-optimal life, because like if you have a situation like that, you should be rushed to like a high-risk doctor and see like what's going on and give like the best medication. And what she did is she was like all chillax about it and saying like, yeah, I'll see you next week, we'll see what's going on, we'll see what to do and this and that. And I kept on pressing like, what can I do? I can't, I need to give this kid the best shot. Like I don't want a premature birth or miscarriage. And she said, oh, you can take like this herbal remedy, some like magic herbal remedy thing on Amazon. It's called Carry On. You can take a calcium pill, I guess. I was like, okay. I didn't like this advice, and I was getting really upset about it. So I just ended the phone call and thought about it. And then the next day I just said, you know what, I'm just going to see a doctor. I can't do this. Like this kid is counting on me. Like I have to give this kid the best shot in life. So I call an OBGYN, and by the way, when you find an OBGYN, you have to go on Google. Like what I do is find the best rated and the most rated and the top rated doctor. So like I found this doctor, she had so many ratings and the highest ratings, and I called her and she was so nice enough to take me in that day, that hour in fact. And this ultrasound specialist saw me. She had not just like a regular ultrasound They have something called transvaginal ultrasound, and that really has an accurate reading of like what's going on. And yeah, like, so the cervix wasn't 1.5, it was actually 2.5. They had the more accurate reading, so it wasn't that bad, but still bad. And the OBGYN was like, okay, yeah, this is bad. I'm going to give you something called progesterone. Yeah, now finally I'm getting that medication. You need the progesterone suppositories that you insert vaginally, and then you have to be on bed rest, which is a new reality I had to deal with. That means you just go to the shower, washroom, and you don't stand up, you just stay in bed all day. So like if you're like a working person, then that means the end of your job for quite some time until the end of the pregnancy. So I was like, man, this is a new reality. This is like really shocking for me. Like, man, all this is too much to take in, but yeah, okay, I'll do it. And she arranged an appointment with me like in like 2 days to see a high-risk doctor who said, yeah, just keep on taking the progesterone, take it easy. And at that point I was like, yeah, like this midwife is not helping me, like she's not taking it seriously. Like for me, like it's a big deal, and I don't know why she's so chill about it. Like I almost lost my kid, and she oh yeah, and the high-risk doctor, they also told me to take that medication for thyroid that they found out from a blood test. They did all sorts of screening tests that I didn't know that had to be done, and the midwife did not do it. And I was just shocked. Like, I know like the midwife, she, in her way, she was caring, she like listens to you, spends lots of time, but I didn't need someone to listen to my emotions or act like they care for me. I just needed solutions. I needed real, factual, scientific solutions to serious problems that could mean life and death for a baby, a human being. Like I said, pro-optimal life, you know? And that's what I needed, and this is why I'm telling you like about this experience, because you really need to make sure you have everything tested, everything analyzed. Like at the high-risk doctor, they analyze everything in the baby. They measure the head, they measure the heart, kidney, everything. But this midwife, it was like, oh, you know, like we'll see how it goes, we'll leave it in Jesus's hands or something, I don't know what. And I gave her like a huge down deposit, and because like I guess like you have to pay upfront for like the actual labor, and she did not give that money back to me. It's been over 2 months. Like she would give you like partial money back, because like I have to pay for like the 3 times I saw her, which nothing happened. She just like sat and listened to me, and did just like a urine test and a blood test, and that's it. And so yeah, that was my experience. I'm 31 weeks pregnant right now. I'm feeling great. I didn't have that cramp. It went away after some bed rest, and I'm feeling a bit better about like how the pregnancy is going, because I'm seeing a doctor who's giving me the appropriate medication, good diagnosis. I'm not feeling any problems whatsoever, no cramps. Everything's going well, and except that now I'm waiting for that down deposit partial refund back from the midwife, and I have like almost a $6,000 ER bill to deal with. So those are like 2 nightmares. I guess it's a stupid tax on myself for these bad decisions that I made, and now I'm sharing it with you so that never happens to you. And I hope that you, when you make your decision, if you want to see a midwife, that like it's someone who makes sure that all these tests are done. And if you're a high-risk person, they're not going to try to keep you, because that's a horrible thing to do if you call yourself a pro-life person and you want to keep your patient, even though they turn out to be a high-risk person. You should let them see a doctor, you know. Like if you did the test and you find out that there's problems, you shouldn't keep your patient. You should just transfer them immediately to an OBGYN, high-risk doctor, MFM, maternal fetal medicine. So there you have it. That's my story. I hope that was somewhat insightful, and I hope it helps you in your decision.